Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're jumping into some really interesting material you shared, focusing on, well, two big psychological shifts.
Yeah.
Moving from comparison towards contentment, and also from needing control to finding authenticity.
Yeah, exactly. And we're looking at some great real-world examples. People like Liz dreading her reunion, Connor navigating friendships, Carter dealing with, his own emotional stuff.
Right.
And our mission really is to unpack why we're so hardwired to compare ourselves and try to control our feelings. These were like ancient survival skills originally.
Okay.
Yeah, designed to keep us safe in the group. But the sources show how these habits often backfire now, leading to loneliness and basically outsourcing our self-worth. So we want to pull out practical strategies to help counter that, based on thinkers like Festinger, Linehan, good stuff.
Okay, let's dive in. Segment 1, this hardwired habit of comparison.
Yeah.
You mentioned Liz. She's facing her 20th high school reunion.
Mm-hmm. And she's completely obsessing weight, job, divorce, just running through this mental checklist.
And her big fear was, what?
I'm just not my best self right now. That feeling.
Oof, I think we can all relate to that pressure.
Totally. And that's comparison right there. It's what the social psychologist Leon Festinger called social comparison theory way back in 54.
54, wow.
Yeah, and it's everywhere. Starts super young, preschool even. It's literally how we figure out where we stand. Like, is my GPA good? Is my height average? You only know by comparing.
So when we feel that urge to compare, that anxiety, is it kind of like a safety check? Like, am I measuring up?
That's a great way to put it. The sources frame it exactly as a kind of safety behavior, an anxious check. Where do I stand? Am I acceptable?
But it doesn't really make us safer in the long run, does it?
No, that's the trap. It backfires big time. First, it just eats up so much mental energy, bandwidth you could use, actually living.
Right, just engaging with life.
Exactly. Second, and this one's sneaky, when you do achieve something, the comparison habit steals the credit. It implies the anxiety the comparing was necessary to motivate you. Ah, okay. And the third point, the really damaging one.
It completely outsources your worth. Your self-esteem isn't yours anymore. It goes up and down based on what everyone else is doing or saying.
Dependent on external feedback.
Totally contingent. If the world says you're good, you feel good. If not, crash.
And this comparison thing, it goes in two directions, right? Both seem pretty isolating.
You've got downward comparison looking at people seemingly worse off. Now, sometimes that brings gratitude, sure, but often it slips into feeling superior, smug, even contemptuous.
Like feeling special or separate. The sources mentioned a college athlete, Jordan, and an editor, Liz Jones.
Yeah, Jordan pushing through injury to feel singular. Liz Jones feeling her eating disorder made her somehow morally unimpeachable.
Yeah.
That drive to be above others. It separates you.
And the flip side, upward comparison.
That's looking at those doing better. And it usually leads to feeling intimidated or dejected or just plain resentful.
Like Connor, the pub manager example. Someone else tells a good joke and he immediately thinks, my friends would rather be hanging out with him. That resentment, just as isolating as feeling superior, it pushes people away.
You mentioned Festinger thought this was automatic. Is there actual brain science backing that up? Like, why is it so hardwired?
Oh, yeah. The neural evidence is pretty clear. There was this study, University of Innsbruck. People earned money in a task.
Okay.
And the part of the brain that tracks value, the ventral striatum, it didn't light up based on how much they earned in total. It lit up based on the relative payoff, how much they got compared to the other person.
Whoa. So my brain cares more about whether I got more than you than about how much I actually got.
Basically, yes. It explains, as the source jokes, why billionaires try to one-up each other's yachts. It's this ancient status tracking thing.
And now technology just pours gasoline on that fire.
Absolutely. Social media platforms are practically designed with surgical precision, they called it, to trigger that comparison, make you feel deficient.
And just scrolling passively is worse.
Seems so. Passive use lurking correlates with more upward comparison, more feeling like you're falling short.
Okay, so comparison is inevitable, baked into our biology. We can't just switch it off. But how do we stop it from, running wild and ruining things? What are the actual countermeasures?
Well, the first one's kind of funny, but true. Get older.
Okay, I can wait for that one.
Seriously, though, studies show comparison does tend to decline naturally as we age, so there's hope.
Good to know. But for those of us needing something sooner, strategy 2.
Strategy 2, broaden the comparison points. The sources call it going from apples to tennis balls. See, the big flaw in most comparisons is we don't have enough information. We fixate on one thing.
Like the example of Abby, worrying because her boss was the same age.
Exactly. She was stuck on age and job title. But when you broaden it out, her boss has an MBA, she has a BA, boss has 5 years tenure, Abby has 2. Plus, all the unknown stuff, sexism, ambition, luck, hidden struggles.
Right, you can't possibly know all the factors.
You can't. The goal isn't to make excuses, it's to make the comparison so complex with so many variables that it just falls apart. You have to conclude, okay, I really can't judge my path based on this one person.
That takes the pressure off. Okay, strategy 3 sounds different. Focus on purpose. This is like a shock absorber against comparison.
That's the idea. Think of Hassan, the guy who is valedictorian, prom king, peak high school success.
Okay.
Later in life, he found himself comparing his current self negatively to that past peak. Purpose helps counter that. It's defined as a self-organizing life aim, something meaningful that goes beyond just you.
And does it actually work? Is there data?
Yeah, pretty compelling data from Cornell. They found that things like Facebook likes boost self-esteem for most people, right?
Sure.
But for people with a strong sense of purpose, that effect was much weaker. Their self-worth wasn't riding on that external validation nearly as much.
Interesting, like an internal anchor. Okay, final strategy. Do the opposite of envy and shame. Sounds like DBT.
It draws heavily on that. Yeah. Control the action, not the feeling. So envy tells you to hoard good feelings, be resentful. The opposite. Actively wish others well.
Like Connor trying that with his brother-in-law.
Exactly. He realized, hey, if his brother-in-law tells more jokes, the party's more fun for everyone. It's not a zero-sum game. He didn't have to be the sole entertainer.
And for shame. Shame tells us to hide.
Right. Withdraw, isolate. So the opposite is show up, cooperate, connect. That's what Liz did by just going to the reunion despite her anxiety.
And it led to actual connection, brunch plans.
Yeah. Moving towards connection, even when shame screams hide, is the way out.
Which brings us nicely to the next big shift. Because moving towards connection means dropping that shield of control, right? The sources argue that the fear of external judgment comparison fuels that internal need to control our emotions. Let's talk about that internal cost, moving from control to authenticity.
Perfect transition. We've seen the masks people wear outside. Now let's look inside. The sources introduce Carter. Grew up in a family where appropriate behavior was everything.
So he learned to fake emotions.
Pretty much. He called it manufacturing made-to-order emotions. Faking interest, forcing happiness, whatever seemed appropriate.
There's a term for that, isn't there?
Yes, emotional perfectionism. It's this need to always feel or show the right emotion. It creates these rigid internal rules. I should be happy. I must be in control. I shouldn't feel sad or angry or messy.
And that makes people feel
fake, empty,
yeah,
disconnected from themselves, like they're just playing a part.
It reminds me of that amazing Mr. Rogers quote from his Senate testimony back in '69. Feelings are mentionable and manageable.
Such a profound statement, and manageable is key. It doesn't mean suppress or deny. It means we can use techniques, distraction, reframing, maybe choosing to avoid a trigger. But the feeling itself is allowed to be.
The problem starts with that inner rule book that says, don't feel bad.
Exactly. Like Jeff, the guy who saw his normal pre-speech anxiety as a personal failing, that's the rule book talking.
Okay, let's unpack that rule book. Rule 1 seems to be endure everything.
Right. Carter's example again. He was heartbroken after his partner almost cheated, but felt he wasn't entitled to feel bad because technically the line wasn't crossed. He felt obligated to just persevere.
Instead of recognizing maybe it's okay to not endure everything, to maybe pivot or leave.
Precisely. It ignores the wisdom in knowing when something isn't working. Okay, rule 2. Feelings need a clear and logical cause.
Ah, the classic, there's no reason to cry.
Exactly that. But Dr. Linehan makes a crucial distinction here between emotions being valid versus justified.
Okay, break that down for us. Valid versus justified.
So valid means if you're feeling it, it's valid. Period. It's happening. It's real for you. It comes from somewhere. Full stop.
Got it. Every feeling is valid just by existing.
Yes. Justified, though, means does the emotion fit the actual facts of the situation? So feeling jealous when your partner is actively cheating, valid and justified.
Makes sense.
Feeling jealous when your clearly devoted partner chats with a cashier. Still valid, the feeling is real, but maybe not justified by the facts. The point is, manage your actions. Don't try to invalidate or control the feeling itself.
Control the action, accept the feeling. Okay.
Yeah.
And the third rule.
Always be appropriate and control strong. This leads straight to the I am fine syndrome. The sources link this to having a really high tolerance for distress, maybe too high.
We praise people for being rocks, right? Couldn't have done it without you.
We do, but the internal cost is huge. Depression, anxiety, sometimes aggression leaks out. And here's the paradox. Trying so hard to not feel bad often makes you feel bad for longer because nobody sees you need help or connection.
You prevent people from helping you regulate. Wow. Okay, so that's the internal toll. Rigid control isolates. Now, how does this play out externally? How we present ourselves? You mentioned people judge us on competence and warmth.
Yeah, that's core social perception stuff. Are they capable, competence, and are they trustworthy?
Warmth. And we often focus too much on competence, trying to look smart or strong.
Especially if we have that emotional perfectionism going on. But Dr. Fisk's research shows warmth is primary. People need to know if you're safe, if your intentions are good, before they care how smart you are.
So when we try to look perfect, using perfectionistic self-presentation, showing only the good stuff, how does that come across?
It often leads to one of two main public faces, according to Lynch's work.
Okay, what are they?
First, the nice face. Super agreeable, big fixed smile, lots of nodding, like a stressed flight attendant maybe. The message is competent and nice.
Right. And the second?
The strong face, kind of the opposite, maybe overly disagreeable or just the lack of expression. Think Bill Belichick's default sideline look, the message. Competent and strong both rely on suppressing authentic emotion.
And the problem is, these masks don't really work for connection.
They actively work against it. They signal disingenuousness. Research actually shows interacting with someone with a flat or overly controlled expression can raise the observer's blood pressure. People tend to avoid it.
Even that college study students who hid emotions were still liked okay, but felt less supported.
Exactly. The potential for friendship was there, but the connection stayed shallow because they weren't showing their real selves.
So how do we signal safety non-verbally without feeling like we have to fake that too?
It's surprisingly simple. The sources offered the big 3+1, just 4 small things.
Okay, lay them on us.
1, relaxed, open posture, sit or stand openly. 2, take a breath, slow exhale. 3, half smile, just gentle, not forced.
Okay, big 3 and the +1.
+1, briefly lift your eyebrows, just a quick flash. It's a universal nonverbal signal for, I see you, I'm open, I like you. And doing it actually helps you feel safer, too.
I like that. Simple physical cues. What about verbally? How do we move past superficial chat?
The key is disclosure, letting ourselves be known. But it needs to be gradual, sustained, reciprocal, personalistic, and escalating. You build trust bit by bit.
And how do we escalate naturally without just dumping heavy stuff on people?
We use what Dr. Mastroianni calls conversational doorknobs. Little personal side comments, small confessions that kind of invite the other person to respond in kind.
Like the example of the colleague working on his dad's place, instead of just...
Yeah, offer a little doorknob back. Something small and personal like, oh, wow, I put clock around my bathtub once, ages ago.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the limit of my DIY skills.
Doesn't have to be impressive at all.
Absolutely not. Trying to have only extraordinary conversations makes us strangers to each other. Normal, slightly personal stuff is the connector.
Which leads to the ultimate step, vulnerability.
Right. Defined as the willingness to show thoughts or feelings we worry might get us criticized or rejected. It could be admitting you don't know something or you made a mistake, or even just that you feel awkward or have no plans for the weekend.
Like Erin, the marathon runner who seemed perfect but was actually lonely because she never showed any cracks.
Exactly. Her invulnerability was intimidating. True vulnerability isn't about trauma dumping. It's about revealing the things you find a bit embarrassing or shameful.
So it's less about the topic, more about your feeling about the topic.
Yes. And crucially, pairing it with the right nonverbals. A sigh, a nervous laugh, rolling your eyes at yourself. Those signals are key.
Why are the nonverbals so important there?
Because they signal trust and equality. They say, I trust you enough to show you this slightly messy part of me, and hey, you and I, we're the same. We both have stuff.
Okay, so the final technique to put this all together, to deepen a connection intentionally.
It's called Match+1, from Lynch again. Pick someone you want to connect more with. First, match their current level of disclosure. Then go just a tiny bit further, that's the +1.
Like Jamila sharing some college regrets over cheese fries.
Perfect example. Her study partner was sharing surface stuff. Jamila matched, then added a small personal regret, the +1. That little risk opened the door to a much deeper 2-hour conversation. It shifted the whole dynamic.
It sounds like whether we're talking about comparing ourselves to others or controlling ourselves internally, The path forward is similar.
Mm.
Less rigidity,